arming themselves to walk the streets to protect themselves. You remember the sound? That's my 45. Now, here's another sound I have here. This is the sound of my plant knife. See? I walk the streets with the plant knife painted black, Bob. This way, no liberal who sees me throw it after I shoot the baboon can say they saw the plant knife painted black. This guy might have been taking lessons from me. If you remember, I said the proper thing to do when being held up is never to go for your weapon when the guy has the first strap on you. Instead, you got to be an actor. I said, now isn't that something? I'm nervous tonight.
Yeah, you're nervous. You know why, Mo? I'll tell you why you're nervous. Because you're in the big leagues now. You're talking in the big leagues, Mo. And you know that I didn't believe your story the first time.
Well, Bob...
And you don't want me to unmask you a second time.
I'm never nervous on the street. And...
You're not nervous on the street. You see, your talk, you're fulfilling a fantasy, Mo.
No, I'm not.
A lot of people call Bob Grant on WABC to fulfill a fantasy. And that's what you're doing.
If you give me a chance to say some words, Bob, I have some...
I mean, that cheap sound effect of your 45. What are you doing, playing Russian roulette?
No, I just...
Push, pull, click, click.
I just came in the house, Bob.
Where's the missus? I thought you said she had a gun, too.
Yes, that's right, and she's in bed listening to the radio.
And do you two make love with your guns on or off?
Bob, I'd like to say this, really. This gun has saved my life just by showing it.
You just show it. You just walk around and you show it.
The store owners, when they have a gun on them, their mistake is going for their gun. The proper thing to do is go into an act. My spiel is this. This is my recommendation. You say to the guy with the gun or a knife on you, you say, okay, man, be cool. Here's the money. I've been held up before. And then when he turns to go, drop to a crouch, and then get to the side and empty your gun into him. I'm doing this to save lives.
How many times have you done this? I mean, outside of in your Walter Mitty-like dreams.
I'm telling you the truth. It's undebunkable. What I'm telling...
Now, how many times have you actually done this? The answer is none, zilch, zero.
I have never shot anyone, but just by showing my gun and saying...
All right, how many times have you shown the gun?
3 times during the last 15 years. I've had 2 pairs test me, coming towards me. There were 2 out of the street with a butcher knife, and the other guy had his hand on the gun. And I dropped to a crouch, and I say, what are you going to do, monkey? And they say, ours are only fooling, man. Ours are only fooling, and may God strike me dead if I'm lying on the spot. I'm alive today because of just showing this gun.
I thought maybe you were going to call and claim that you were the subway shooter.
No, Bob. And quite truthfully, I have an open plea to this man. You are a fool if you turn yourself in, because as one cop told me, the prison population will get you within 2 days. Our mealy-mouthed, limp-wristed mayor will not tell you this, but it's true. Same with that liberal Como, share the wealth Mario. But
all right, let me hear your 45 again. Let me hear it.
Okay, I got it right here.
It's not loaded.
Here, look. Okay, I got the clip out, okay?
All right.
Now, Bob, I like you, but now the fact is this. This man, here.
Do you use the Alan Ladd approach, or Randolph Scott, or John Wayne?
No,
What kind of approach do you use?
Well, I'm sorry. I just have to be myself. It's a natural, and...
Oh, you use a natural approach?
Yes.
Very natural.
Anyone.
You drop to one knee.
Well, sister, I love the innocent...
You say, you dirty rat, you? Do you call him a dirty rat?
No, Bob.
No.
I just say, what are you going to do, monkey? And then the usual response is, ours are only kidding, man. Ours are only...
You say, wait a minute. You say usual response. You claim you've done this 3 times in the last 15 years.
Right. And usually the other guy says to the guy with the weapon, he says, no, don't.
And you walk around showing the gun. Like you go to D'Agostino's or something, you're carrying a bag in one hand and a gun in the other as you walk out.
No, all these times it happens from the streets.
I remember once I had a Tom Mix gun. It was wood. I wonder whatever happened to it. Maybe I ought to go see if I could find it. I'll ask my mother. I'll call her.
Let me ask you this question. Don't you agree that if this guy turns himself in, and I literally pray that he gets away? I'm sorry that I wasn't up there on the street on Chambers Street to give the guy a getaway, and quite truthfully, if it means to save him, I would gladly have him in my house.
Is your wife awake?
Yeah, she's lying in bed.
Get her up. I want to talk to her.
You want to speak to my wife?
I want to talk to her.
Okay, here she is. Hang on.
All right.
He wants to speak to you. Go ahead.
All right, we got to find out about this.
I said, say hello to Boss Man.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Are you, what's her name?
Yeah. Dan?
Does he carry that 45 around all the time?
Yeah, 'cause he works very late.
He does? Does he, what does he do when he comes to bed? Does he take the gun to bed with him?
No, I told him to put it away 'cause we have a baby. You know, Tyler, I don't want him getting it.
He says you have a gun, too. Is that true?
Yeah.
The two of you wear your guns?
I don't wear it.
Oh, where do you keep your gun?
Usually in the pocket 'cause they can steal your pocketbook.
Hey, you haven't used yours, have you?
No, I never had to, thank goodness.
Do you think you could if you had to?
Oh, yeah, if someone went to rape me or something, I had no hesitation on getting him. I even have a friend, she's a woman, she's in her 60s. She told me she carries around a knife from the kitchen 'cause she says she'd rather get done than let them get her.
What do you think of the subway shooter? You think he did the right thing?
Oh, yeah, everybody I know thinks he should get a medal. A lot of people I know spend Christmas Eve congratulating, discussing it and saying this guy should get a medal, he did the right thing. And I think there's too many people that think he did the wrong thing.
Do you have a permit for that gun?
No, I got it out of state.
You don't have a permit? You know you're in serious violation of the law.
I know, I've been wanting to go down, and you had to go down and learn it, how to shoot, and then it's a whole bunch of paperwork.
No, really, you'd better get a permit for that thing. You're gonna get in trouble.
Well, I'd rather get in trouble and still be alive than be dead from someone getting me.
Where'd you grow up?
Brooklyn.
And you feel that this city's just not safe for a civilian, huh?
Well, not much of the world is safe right now, but New York is one of the worst. I have friends overseas. They say when they come to America, they go around New York because they're paranoid to come here.
Yeah. Well, all right, you can get back to bed. I appreciate you getting up and talking to me.
Okay.
But try to get a permit for that gun, will you?
Yeah, thank you. I try.
Okay, good night.
Wait, can you wait a minute? My husband wants you.
All right.
Hold on a second. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bob?
Yeah?
I feel that this man, he's not a vigilante, has touched the mealy mouth.
Yeah, you don't have a permit for that gun, do you?
I know, but I have oh yes I do, from God. I have a license from God to live.
You have wait a minute, you have a license from God?
Right. In my mind, I'll figure a speech in my...
If you get picked up by the cops, well, you live on the west side, what are you, Midtown North?
I'm not going to say. But
You're near 54th. No, wait a minute. As a matter of fact, I know where you are.
Yeah.
You're on 47th and 46th, between 9th and 10th.
I'm not saying where I am.
Yeah.
But
I'm focusing in on you.
But I have a question for you. Bob, don't you think I and other decent citizens, those who sympathize with the innocent, have a moral right to protect themselves?
Yes.
Well, then, okay.
Yep. You do have a moral right to protect yourselves. However, you have to... If you're in violation of the laws...
What law? That's a law. That's a wacko law.
Well, I tell you, look...
About that law.
Then get the law changed. But just remember, you got to pay the consequences. If you get picked up with that gun, you or your missus...
Out of it. You want to know how I get out of a gun rap?
How did you get out of a gun rap?
Very easy. Here's how friends of mine beat the rap. And it's so simple. Thank God I have a chance to tell the decent citizens out there who are carrying guns illegally. And it's important to inculcate this in case you get interrogated by the criminal helpers, the cops, who would lock you up if you dare one.
How do you beat the rap? There's 10,000 guys dying to hear the answer.
Right. All you got to do is say that there were two of them, a guy and his girlfriend, and she tried to pistol whip you. She dropped the gun, and you picked it up. She ran away, and then you shot him as he came at you with his knife, with her gun. You just stick by that story, practice it. Just inculcate it, and it works. Because I knew a guy that was in his house one day, and these two baboons, they broke down the door at a flea-bag hotel. Some guy I know sympathized with. I give him a buck.
I don't know. What do you do for a living?
I can't reveal too much because too many people know me. But now the fact is...
Has anybody ever told you that you're strange?
Strange for wanting to survive?
No, I mean, yeah, look, I survive. I don't have a license to carry a gun from God.
But, well, when I say that, what I mean is everyone has a moral right to defend themselves. That's what I mean.
Listen, I'm going to give somebody else a chance to talk. You've given us a lot to think about.
All right, so long, Bob.
I'll give the mayor your regards. Respect.
Oh, he could have shot the perp.
You think it's that easy? Have you ever fired a gun?
Sir, Bob Grant, I have a gun right here in the house.
I didn't ask you if you have a gun. I've asked you, have you ever fired a gun?
I have fired a gun many, many times, and it's so easy. I'll put it to you.
Well, you mean on at a target range or at a person?
I have had 3 occasions. This is Mo. I've called to you on this subject.
Did you thwart a robbery? Is that what you did?
3 times just by showing the gun, Bob.
You're not 80 years old, are you?
No,
Uh-huh.
but it's...
I don't think you're anywhere near 80 years old, but you want an 80-year-old guy to walk around with a gun.
I feel like this, Bob. It's so easy to learn to shoot a gun. When I go to Las Vegas,
Ever seen a person's hand at 80 years old?
I agree.
Even when they're in good condition, the hand trembles a little bit.
Okay, what about that man out in Los Angeles who was 81 and he shot a guy and saved his life in doing so?
Yeah, and I'm glad that he did what he did, but by and large, I don't think we should recommend 80-year-old people walking around carrying guns.
All right, Bob. In this case, I agree with you. But now, okay, he shouldn't have gone into that building, and this is why I'm calling. And I was listening this morning.
You're making me nervous, Mo. You got this hesitation delivery that makes me nervous.
Well, because I feel that I'm going to be interrupted, but I would like to say something.
Well, you know what? You're not going to be interrupted. You're going to be terminated any second now.
Well, it's your privilege, of course, but I have something important to say, really.
You have something important? You have something important? Okay, Mo, what is it?
It's so easy, Bob, to shoot a gun that there's a certain pistol range that I go to when I'm in Las Vegas.
All right, I'm waiting to hear the important stuff. You said you had something important to say. Where is it?
Yes. I say this. Do not be in a situation where your life is in danger without having the proper tools.
All right. Hey, how about a guy going in with a chair and a whip like Frank Buck, remember?
Yeah, I remember Frank Buck.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Mo.
Bob, this is Mo from the West Side here. I was speaking to you before on self-defense, and what I've been saying, I have to say I told you so now. I told you that I'm the guy who...
Mo, this doesn't justify your fetish for guns.
Bob,
this doesn't justify the fact that you would rather make love to your six-shooter than to your wife.
No. Bob, I'm alive today because I had the gun to show.
Mo, I don't want to hear that story. You've paraded it before the audience twice now.
But I have something to say.
The first time it was even boring when we didn't know the outcome.
I told you that a lawyer told me that no grand jury will ever convict anyone for shooting a mugger in self-defense. And what I told you, as you know, is true. The politicians, of course, didn't like it to get around. But now the people know. And I predict many people out there who live in the Tenderloin districts of this city, and there's more and more of them, when they go on vacation this summer, they're going to plan it, instead of going to the Catskills, say, they'll go to South Carolina, Maine, Alabama, places like that. They may even get a one-way plane ticket, but of course they're going to come back with a few guns. And they know how to beat the gun.
Oh, I hope not, Mo. We have too many guns as it is. You know, you're so in love with guns, you want everybody to have a gun.
Bob, I often think of Miss Isenberg.
You're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution, Mo.
Oh, no. Had Miss Isenberg listened to me rather than the mealy-mouths out there, and I have to say now, Bob, I like you, but you sound like one. Had she listened to me...
I sound like a mealy-mouth because I don't like guns.
Well, do you agree in a moment of telling the truth that Miss Isenberg would be alive today had she had her hand on the handle of that gun when walking into that building? You know she'd be alive today.
She'd be alive today if the skunk that did it to her had been put away for a previous crime when he was supposed to have been.
Well, of course, but when you have a liberal governor appointing liberal judges who tilt in favor of the criminal, it's the right of people to have the proper equipment. to defend themselves, and now I'm...
No, I think the police know full well what they're doing by not giving licenses to everybody that comes along. By the way, Mo, you don't have a license, do you?
You're darn right I don't.
Uh-huh.
And furthermore...
Gun club?
Right, he's good people.
Yeah, I have nothing against him, but, you know, he's a better proponent. He's a better spokesperson for the gun lobby than you are.
Well, Jerry probably doesn't...
I mean, you know, every time you talk about guns, you turn off more people than you turn on.
I wish you would...
Because it's obvious you're not playing with a full deck, Mo.
No, hold it. If you lived around where I live, Bob, you would be more understanding. I have to walk from 12th Avenue all the way home. I have to walk 6 blocks to the pits on the west side over here.
Do you walk with the gun out in your hand?
No, I have it in a bag.
You mean you're not one of these guys drinking beer or wine out of a paper bag? You have a gun in your paper bag.
Oh, it's not a paper bag. It's a carrying case.
Oh, I see. How fast can you get it out? Have you practiced?
Well, you know, at the right time, I sometimes use my overcoat.
If a guy came up to you and asked you for $5, what would you do?
Well, first of all, when I see someone who I don't like coming towards me on my side of the street, I walk to the other side of the street. Listen, I don't want to use this, but as I have said, Bob...
You didn't answer the question. If 4 guys surrounded you, and first they said, hey, man, how about a match? And you said, I don't smoke, I don't have any matches. Then they said, hey, we want $5. How about $5? You got $5? Then what would you do?
On a dark street, I'd say, man, you keep your distance. And I've sent that message already, because I know what they're up to.
Well, you wouldn't pull out the old pistola?
No, I wouldn't pull it out, but I'd have my hand right there, and they would know what my hand is on also.
I see. They'd know that you had your hand on your pistol.
Division of the police department. Now, the goal of this guy, to say that someone who lives in Scarsdale, but who works in Manhattan in a jewelry district, he's allowed to have a pistol, but someone like me has to sweat every time he parks the car.
Well, you see, the idea is that you're not carrying valuables. Your person is not valuable.
Yeah, but what about an individual's life, Bob? You see, they put a...
Oh, okay. Mo, listen, I thank you very much for the call. We just reached the saturation point. I just reached a saturation point.
Well, I'm making good points. If you had a...
I can't... Mo, a little of you goes a long way, Mo. Thank you for the call.
You go to the suburbs, right?
Yeah. No. What difference does it make where I live?
Perhaps if you lived
I'll tell you what. You know what? The cops tell me I could get a gun permit any time. I'll tell them, give mine to you, Mo. Okay? I said, give it a Mo. That's what I'll do. Okay. Give it a Mo. Anybody listening down there, the gun license, give mine the Mo. The one you wanted to give me, give it a Mo. He won't shoot his big toe off. I know. That's what I'd do if I had one. Well, hey, Mo claims he's sweating bullets, and he still has a gun. Man, what would he do if he didn't? He'd collapse on the sidewalk, I guess. Oh, dear. And this is a civil... You have a... Are you the guy that called me one time and said your wife has a gun as well?
I'm not talking.
Yeah, you are. You are the guy. And you said you even wear those guns when you're making love, right?
Bob, you were having some fun. No, but...
How far do you live from Bellevue?
Bob, I've been stopped by cops and given traffic tickets, for God's sakes.
Did you show them your gun and scare them away?
I was a perfect gentleman to the cop. So, and I've had arguments with other drivers. I would never go for the gun. This gun is for when I leave the car and walk to the house. Because of alternate side of the street parking, which helps the criminals, I have to walk sometimes 10 blocks to get to the house through the dark, eerie streets of this jungle of a city. And in reference to that first caller that called tonight, Bob, the guy from Bensonhurst?
Yes.
Yeah, he is what you call donut spelled backwards. He's stunad, this guy. This guy that carries the gun.
Yeah.
He's a little malad.
About...
Malad. This guy is probably a malad, this guy. Okay. All right, Bobby, start the bond, huh? I got you back. Don't worry. Tomorrow morning, as anyone who knows, who has visited these shops throughout the metropolitan area, the busiest shops around at 11 a.m. will be crowds of white people in gun shops, equipping themselves with the proper paraphernalia. They are ready. The pistol ranges are loaded with white people who are getting ready to defend themselves.
You're daft. You're absolutely daft.
Okay, I'll tell you what you do.
You have an obsession with guns. Can't you call one time without sounding as though you're having an orgasm when you talk about guns? Maybe because you are. Maybe you do. Do you fondle your gun?
I'm motivated by a story.
Do you play with your gun?
No, I don't play with it at all.
What do you do with it?
Well, it's not in use right now.
But why are you so obsessed with your gun?
I'll put it to you like this. It's a close friend of mine. It saved me. I'm alive today because of it.
You're alive today because you walked down the street and you showed it to somebody and he practically fainted. Isn't that right?
3 times. I'm alive today.
3 times. Well, instead of just pulling it out and why don't you keep it out all the time?
Well, first of all, when I'm not in a dangerous situation, I have an automatic and I have the clip out of the gun. This is a lesson to the people out there. If you're going to buy an illegal gun this summer, make sure it's an automatic.
You're carrying an illegal gun?
Yes, because if you have an automatic and the clip is out of it, and if you should get caught, there's a very slim chance, because a cop can't walk up to you and search your bag without a reason. If you should get caught with the clip out of the gun, you will not get a serious penalty. So that's why most of the time the clip is out of my gun. I just put the clip in when I leave the car and I have to walk home to the house. That's a lesson for the people.
You ever kiss your gun?
Oh, of course not, Bob.
What do you mean, of course not?
No, I don't kiss my gun.
I've known of people who've actually been so fond of their guns that they actually have fallen in love with them.
Bob, I'll put it like this. I love innocent people.
As a matter of fact, in Greenwich Village, you can marry your gun.
Well, the reason...
And the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco.
Well, the reason I have spoken out several times is because I pity a person who has nothing to show, a knife-wielding mugger. That man or woman, he's going to be in a world of horror, and I predict this summer people will plan their vacations. They will go to areas where they know they can get guns easily. You can circumvent here. For instance, did you know that in Texas, what you do, you don't even have to give
ladies and gentlemen, are you taking all this in? People are going to plan their vacations around purchasing a gun. I could just say, Clem, where do you want to go this year? Well, they got a good special guns down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah, but what else are we going to do? Well, we could buy guns and go to the target range.
Bob, I want to tell you something.
I mean, do you really believe Mr. and Mrs. North America is going to be doing that this summer?
I really do. And I want to tell you something. I didn't think like this when I was younger, but the crime is far worse now. And I want to tell you something. One of the things that causes people to become victims of crime, and I really believe this, is alternate side of the street parking and restrictive parking. Very often, a person during the eerie hours of the morning, he can't park near his house because of this restrictive parking. He's forced to park the car many, many blocks away, and that means walking alone.
Why don't you get a sandwich board? I'm serious. Get a sandwich board. Keep it in the trunk of your car.
Bob, I'm trying.
And you work. No, wait a minute. Sandwich. You know what a sandwich board is, don't you? Okay, put it on. On the front, it'll say, "I have a gun," and on the back, write the words, "It's loaded."
I'm trying to save people out there, Bob. If I could be useful, it's because I was born, I could save one life.
Well, why don't you open up a pistol range?
In New York City, it's impossible with these pinko politics.
Why don't you open up a pistol range, and if a guy hits the bullseye, you can give him a Cupid doll. How about it? Come on.
Oh, if I were in Texas or something. It's so easy to fire a gun. There's a certain pistol range I go to out on Tropicana Avenue in Las Vegas. I'll tell you how to...
In Las Vegas?
Yeah. Well, when I go...
I mean, you never practice unless you go to Las Vegas?
Oh, no, I practice in other areas closer by.
Yeah,
But I want to tell you something, Bob. It's so easy to shoot a pistol. There's a certain pistol range out there on Tropicana Avenue where a newcomer comes in and he wants to fire a pistol at the indoor pistol range. The man, he gives him a simple card with the instructions how to operate it. It's so easy.
I'm sure. Thank you very much for your call.
There was a crime wave in Central Park last weekend. Roving bands of sneaker-clad savages. They attacked people, anything of value they tried to take. It was reminiscent of the attacks on the covered wagon people, and of course they got away with it, except for 11, they got arrested. However, if it backfired, even though the crowd chased and caught some, the cops had to rescue them, not enough people had the proper equipment. Now, I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about the people, at least, they could have a bat. It's permissible to have a baseball bat in your car to prevent a Kitty Genovese situation. Every man listening should have a baseball bat painted black with flat back spray paint that doesn't shine.
I wonder if that would be legal if they had to use it in a baseball game. Who knows? I guess if they don't put pine tar on it, it's okay, Mo. Anyway, I'll tell George Brett you called. Thank you, Mo. Hello, David. You're on Talk Radio 77 WABC. I tell you, Mo's got a hang up. He's living in a siege mentality. It's too bad.
About a month ago, you might have read in the papers of a doctor up on 96th Street in Park Avenue. He was held up in his office, and he played it smart. He had a gun hidden, but he abided by the demands of the hold-up man because he had a plan. And he gave the perp some money, and then the perp, he turned his back, he walked away. He went out into the street, and he started to run, and the doctor followed him and shot him. He shot him in the back. Now, the cops caught this guy bleeding a few blocks away. The monkey was making for the park. And I read in the paper, and I was happy to read it, that the doctor, he wasn't even held overnight. Now, there is an inconsistent act here by the police department. If you remember, they're nailing Bernhard Goetz because they say he shot a couple of these savages in the back. So why not the doctor being held, and why Bernie Goetz? Can you figure that out?
Well, I think in the case of the doctor, his premises were invaded, were occupied by the skunk, and an actual armed robbery had occurred. In the case of Bernie Goetz, although I support Bernie Goetz, by the way, there's a name some people may say, who? The fact of the matter is the circumstances in his shooting were different. Ben, I know you're fascinated with guns, and someday you're going to call and you're going to be embarrassed because you're going to shoot off your big toe, and then you won't be able to think anymore.
Yeah.
But I tell you something, Ben, I'm so sick and tired of hearing from you talking about guns. Is there anything else you could talk about? Terrence. It is Terrence, right?
Yes.
Terrence, just tell me, why do you think he was writing out the ticket if your car was legally parked?
The fellow's quote, I reported him to Internal Affairs, and I want to report the results. Okay, I waited. He stood down by the Edison Hotel under the marquee, and I waited for a squad car to come by.
Squad car?
Oh, okay, I'd like to explain what happened. The squad car came by, and the sergeant was there, and then I was telling the sergeant about this, and he sympathized with me, and I was yelling it out to this other guy that I'm reporting him. So the sergeant took off, and then I went down to this guy. Now, I want to tell you what he said to prove that...
You tell me what he said.
He said to me, after he saw that I reported him to the sergeant incidentally said that he couldn't do...
Is anybody following this?
Yeah, for those who have gotten tickets, this is important.
I can't follow this.
This is how to get...
I'm smart. I can't follow this.
Bob, this is how you get results. You report the cop to Internal Affairs at the...
You never answered my question, though, when I asked you a moment ago...
Yes?
If you were parked legally, on what pretext was he writing out the ticket?
Bob, I'm doing a service to your listeners. I'm telling them...
Oh, okay. Okay, they're both very happy that you are. Go ahead. Hello, Mo.
Yeah, hi. I must say, that fellow Lafredo there who wrote that letter to you, he seems to be the typical person who makes up Mario Cuomo's voting base. I'd like to speak about the disastrous policies of Mayor Koch.
All right.
Well, some of them.
Yeah.
Of course, Mayor Koch is the city's head con man, as are most Democrats in this city, parasite-loving Democrats who punish the civilized people who vote with their feet, and businesses are leaving the city also. Well, the Midtown Chamber of Commerce, they're suing Mayor Koch to try to stop the insane policies of housing the homeless in productive Midtown. Mayor Koch's latest plan now calls for a 300-bed facility just about 4 blocks away from 2 of Donald Trump's investments.
Yeah.
Mayor Koch has long been called a very vindictive person, while two of his arch enemies are Donald Trump and Ruth Messenger. Ruth Messenger, well, on domestic issues, she sticks up for the victims of Mayor Koch. And 53rd Street and 10th Avenue, where this facility is planned, is Ruth Messenger's district. Now, as you know, you might have read in the, well, I assume you read in the papers that Mayor Koch is working the city from both sides. On the east side, there's a house for the homeless. It's an apartment house on First Avenue.
Why are you rambling like this? I mean, what did I do to you, Mo, that you should call and ramble like this? I mean, what?
Well, because I'm sending...
Can you focus on one thing, or do you want to destroy the program entirely? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm sending a message that it's not safe to walk in a 3-block area of a midtown well.
Yeah, but it's safe for you, Mo, because you pack a rod.
Well, that's true, but I don't always use a rod to get out of trouble also. If you stop for a traffic light...
Have you ever thought of, what is it, Pierre, South Dakota, or is it North Dakota?
Bob, if you stop for a traffic light in an area...
How about Bismarck?
Say a hotel. They got a new gimmick now.
This guy is...
Neanderthals will walk over to your car and ask you for a dollar bill for 4 quarters.
Really?
Yes. And the sucker who falls for this trick, he takes out his wallet or his roll to comply. You know, he wants to think that he did something nice for a black. And then, of course, the black takes his whole roll. The crime in the Midtown area has gone up tremendously since Mayor Koch, this moron, has subscribed to the theory that it's best to put the welfare hotels in Midtown.
Well, that's right, Mo. I have to move on. I thank you for the call. I have the patience that the New Yorkers have, right, Mo?
Yeah, that's too bad. I was reading that same story about Mr. Walsh, the poor guy.
You read about Mr. Walsh?
Yes, and...
I want to begin tomorrow's program by talking about that. I think it's an issue that cries out to be heard.
It's a commonplace story. An innocent citizen, unarmed, well, in this case, he came down into from the elevator.
Yeah.
He was going to get his car in the quietness, 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm going to tell that story tomorrow, Mo.
We should have a gun. All people out there should buy a second-hand gun, a good throwaway gun. If you ever get caught with it by the cops, just say it was the mugger's gun if you have to use it. If you get held up by one mugger and blast him away, say there was 2, you wrestled the gun away from the one who got away. You beat the gun wrap that way. More and more people should arm themselves.
All right, let me ask you this, Mo. You've been talking this for a long time. Has there ever been an occasion where you were about to be victimized by crime, where you produced your weapon and avoided the crime?
Yeah, about 5 times.
All right, 5 times.
And it saved me just by showing it.
All right, you show it. Okay. Mo walks down the street showing it.
But the guy comes out...
He flashes his gun. All right, thank you, Mo. Make your speech. I'll give you 48 seconds.
If you don't have something to show a mugger, as Bernhard Goetz says...
42.
You are in for it.
40.
Those of you out there who play roulette with your lives, your family, you're making a big mistake. It's been said there is no room in jails for about 40% of convicts who are caught with illegal pistols. There is no room in jail for decent citizens without a record. But Dwight Gooden's girlfriend got caught with a loaded, unlicensed .38 at the airport. All she got was probation.
15.
Every day, innocent people are let loose because they get caught with an illegal pistol. There is
5.
There is a mitigation.
4.
Of course,
3.
They are allowed out because they've never been in trouble before.
1.
When it comes to water heaters, there are lots of different sizes, styles, and models, so it